In the universe of Pirates of the Caribbean, magic plays a vital role in most stories. From the dark practices of the villainous Blackbeard to the enigmatic powers and mystic arts practiced by Tia Dalma in her dark jungle home, this video will explore all forms of magic in the Pirates of the Caribbean series. So before we get too deep into this, I'm going to establish some ground rules for this video. I will not be covering deities. That will be getting its own video down the line. Besides that too, gods in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe tend to be more of a representation of the natural order, rather than some kind of manipulation or even a perversion of nature. Likewise, I won't discuss curses, as they're so common in this franchise I should make a separate video for them. I mean, they're basically responsible for the events of almost every film in the entire franchise. We'll be discussing magic as a manipulation of the natural order, something that is technically unnatural, but within the scope of many different entities on the sea. First up, we have witchcraft, and while there aren't many witches in Pirates of the Caribbean, they're still worth noting as powerful entities. Many women sadly met a terrible fate for being falsely accused of witchcraft, but there are a few real ones during the 1700s. Shanza is one such individual, being a contentious ally of Captain Barbossa after he amassed a pirate fleet. A character many don't know about is Madame Minute, a Creole witch from New Orleans. She owned many slaves, having their free will revoked when her pet snakes bit them. She once stole an ancient relic from the Yucatan Peninsula with the help of her slave, Tim Hawk, but Jack Sparrow managed to steal it back from her, while Tim helped him escape and joined his crew. Sometime later, Madame Minute used her powers to merge with the pirates Leftfoot Lewis and Silverback, turning into a vile three-headed serpent, but the serpent was defeated by Jack Sparrow and Laura Smith. And you might be curious as to what artifact Minute stole from the Yucatan. That was the Sun and Stars amulet, an object capable of turning objects in different types of metals. In a sense, alchemy. Alchemy has a surprisingly deep history in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. In Curse of the Black Pearl, we learned that the pirate code was written by two famous pirates, Morgan and Bartholomew. While there isn't much information on Bartholomew outside of his involvement with the Second Brethren Court and the creation of the code, we know far more about Henry Morgan. Some of my longtime viewers might recall that I brought up Henry Morgan in my timeline video, and how he mysteriously vanished to an unknown island to study alchemy. I never went into that plot thread into greater detail at the time, and I won't go too deep into it here since it deserves its own video. But after the convening of the Second Brethren Court and the creation of the Pirates' Code, Henry Morgan was believed to have died at some point in the 1670s, but in reality he isolated himself in a laboratory on a mysterious island somewhere in the Caribbean, studying alchemy and cracking a magical key to immortality, using his shadow gold concoction. Alchemy is the practice of transforming metals into rare metals, like gold or silver. Outside of Henry Morgan, we don't know any other practitioners in the franchise. By far the most famous form of magic in the franchise is voodoo. Voodoo is a combination of traditional African mythologies, blended with Roman Catholicism. Of course, how those two concepts ended up merging together was through the horrific transatlantic slave trade, but it ended up becoming a very well-known part of Caribbean lore. After the First Brethren Court bound the sea goddess Calypso in her human form, she hid away in the jungles of Cuba as a voodoo priestess. Famously, she was a frequent ally of Captain Jack Sparrow, having helped him in his formative years against certain mystical threats, as with reviving Hector Barbossa, assisting the crew of the Black Pearl in rescuing Jack from Davy Jones's locker, and ultimately being freed from her human form and returned to godhood. After his rumored death in 1718, Captain Edward Teach, more commonly known as the infamous Blackbeard, became a devout practitioner of voodoo. He learned all sorts of voodoo, though favored Haitian voodoo. He managed to learn the process of zombification to subjugate the commanding officers of his ship, creating dolls of people to remotely torture them, and learn how to put full-size ships into small bottles. Though much of Blackbeard's voodoo falls into a bit of a weird gray area, not entirely being voodoo, but more just the general dark arts. His magic is almost entirely used in an offensive attempt to inflict harm onto his enemies, while voodoo, as shown by Tia Dalma, is far less malicious in nature, and is often used as something as benign as guidance. What Blackbeard seems to be a big fan of is curses, and I'll cover those another day. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, give a like and hit the subscribe button, comment down below and share your thoughts on these magic types, join my Patreon page for early access to my videos, and join my Discord server. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.